Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 18th episode of your new favorite internet show, Visioncon Live. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the woman of the hour. She's Nami from One Piece, Uraraka from My Hero Academia, Honey Senpai from Ouran High Host Club, just to name a few. She's the empowering and sensational legend we all know and love. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Luci Christian. Luci, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I am so good. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. I miss everybody so much.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Now, Luci, before we begin, I just got to tell you something. Unbeknownst to you, you are the most recent addition to a very exclusive club of celebrities. Let me elaborate. You are an official member of the group of celebrities who, when they got back to me, accidentally caused me bodily harm. Let me explain. The first inductee was Kyle Hebert. When he got back to me that he wanted to be on the show, I dropped my phone on my foot. Bob Bergen was the second one. When he got back to me, I was walking, not paying attention to what I was doing, slammed my foot against a chair. I was upstairs in my home. I was checking my phone, just walking down the hall. You know, I'd like to think I kind of know where everything is at this point. But I see you email me that, you want to be on the show. Obviously, I'm stoked. Unfortunately, I decided to choose that moment to turn a corner, and then bam, hip, right in an end table. Oh, it was funny now, but man,
that's a sad story.
But so congratulations on being the most recent member of that group.
Oh, thanks. I'm in awesome company there.
You definitely are. Well, Luci Christian, like I said, renowned voice actress, all-around great person. The first question I have for you, Luci, is how did we get here? You are renowned around the world for all of your work. You've been in the business, longer than most of your peers. Was this always the plan, or was just something happen in life that kind of led you to this?
This was not the plan. And I never could have foreseen that this would be the plan. I was an actor. I was an actor in high school. I went to tiny little schools where there were not like big drama programs and stuff like that. There was something called UIL One Act Play, and it was the first thing I was ever just kind of good at. I wasn't a great student. I was frankly pretty average. I was not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, and I could act. And I ended up going to college and acting in college, and then I went and got a master's degree. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to New York and just wait tables and try to act. And I had no money, and I didn't know anybody in New York. So I came to Houston just to make enough money to go to New York. I was going to get a day job and live with my aunt and make enough money and go to New York. And then I got hooked up with an agency here, and they started sending me on voice auditions, which I booked. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh, I didn't think voice work was going to be what I really did that much, but I mean, fine, it's great. And I was just sort of an actor. I was acting on stage, and I was doing a lot of voice work, like commercial work and industrial work. There's a lot of that here in Houston. And I got a call from ADV Films at the time. Some of us that are old dinosaurs remember ADV Films. And my agent was like, hey, ADV Films is looking for young girl voices to go do anime. And I will be straight up with you. The only anime I knew was super old stuff. And the stuff that boys would watch at parties in college in the back room. So I was like, what do you want me to do?
Very elegant way to have put it. I like that.
I know. So anyway, I mean, I was just super, super green. I didn't know anything. And I hope people take this as a very hopeful story, because I went to ADV and I played a girl on the beach in a show called Neoranga. And I left there and went home and told my roommate, they're never going to have me back. I was horrible. I don't even know what I'm doing. That was terrible. And I think 2 weeks later, a new director there, Don Rush, was casting a little show called Full Metal Panic. And I got an audition and was like, they're inviting me back to read? How kind of them. I was so terrible. Wow. And I somehow miraculously booked the lead in that show. And then I was like, what are we doing? What? And I remember I went to the internet. I'm sure it was dial up back then. I went to the internet and I was like, tell me about anime. Tell me about what's going on. And I ended up at Anime News Network and all of these places. And I frankly was shocked and terrified. I thought there are going to be people out there that review my work and they're going to see that I don't know what I'm doing. And, but that was the beginning of everything, was Full Metal Panic. And I just happened to hit at a really wonderful moment in time in this industry. Because it blew up. Everything blew up.
One of the best things that you could have knocked out of the park firsthand, because guys, if you haven't watched Full Metal Panic, go ahead and do so. One of the best ever.
It's so good. Sosuke and Kaname are one of the all-time best couples, I think. Oh, all time.
But so, you know, you're riding the success of Full Metal Panic. Kind of, what do you think is the next big role after that?
Let's see. What would the next big role be? I remember there was a whole lot going on at that time. ADV was like exploding. They were adding studios so much. There were shows like Pre-Tier then, DN Angel, and just all these shows. What's the one? Miss Yukari, Azumanga Daioh, just these really funny, funky shows. And then I went to a con where I met Mike McFarland from Funimation, and he said, hey, I was just watching Full Metal Panic. I really like your voice. I'm working on a little show called Full Metal Alchemist. And I am wondering if you would like to come up and do an episode character, and that will be your paid audition. And I was like, okay, because everybody knew about Full Metal Alchemist. And of course, everybody wanted to be in that show. And so that's how I ended up at Funimation. I did Siren in episode 10 of Full Metal up there, and then was invited back for the audition when the auditions for Wrath came around. But I started working up there then. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe it.
Well, speaking of Funimation, you know, there are a few, like I said, for most of the guests we have on this show, but definitely for you, you know, if we went to each character on your IMDb page, link is in the live chat if you guys are curious about that, we would be here all day. But there are a few characters that I want to touch on, one of which we would be remiss if we didn't talk about. That, of course, is Nami from One Piece. Now, I just got to ask, you know, the show's been around, you know, over 15 years, well, for the dub anyway, you know, longer for that for the sub. Did you think that you would voice one of the main characters, you know, for such a big and important and just kind of impactful show for over 15 years?
No, I don't think I don't think I could have foreseen that. I can tell you though that because back when it all happened, it was so exciting. Because everybody knew when that show came to Texas, everybody read for that show. Everybody wanted to do that show. And I think Funimation, Mike probably collected sort of his top picks and sent them over to the Japanese, and then the Japanese cast the show from his top picks. And I remember I was in this house in the back bedroom when Mike called me and he said, so they chose you, but I want you to know what you're getting into. This is a years-long thing. Now, at the time, I probably thought, what, 5 years, 6 years? What am I going to do? Say no? It has been many years. And what's, you know, I don't even live, we record that show up in Dallas, and I live in Houston. But that show has been such a gift to me. And the fandom of that show sort of globally is such a sweet connector. People who love that show. Like, they love that show. And whenever people bring me things for One Piece to sign, I always say, how many episodes have you seen? And they're like, all of them. Or, I'm in the 700s or whatever. And I just go, I'm not worthy.
coming from someone who is dating and who loves someone who loves you and loves One Piece, my girlfriend Raylene, One Piece is their favorite anime of all time. You know, they're all caught up. They're having me watch the show because I'll be entirely honest, until I met Raylene about 3 years ago, never gave the show much, you know, whatever, you know.
It's kind of a commitment.
I'm sorry?
It's kind of a commitment.
Definitely a commitment. But, you know, they got me started to watch it, and oh my God, was I wrong. Now, I will say, at first, you know, I was just watching it just kind of for their sake, because, you know, I love Raylene. But there was one character that always stuck out with me, and that was Nami. Now, before, if everybody watching live now on Facebook or at home on YouTube after this is posted, you know, don't take that out of context. It's not for the reason you think. Nami is just a very empowering and just such a deep and well-rounded character, and just I really appreciate her arc. I mean, obviously now that I've watched a lot of it, I've come to appreciate all the characters, but just Nami is just a very big part of that show, and I really appreciate that as the show has gone on, she's kind of becoming more and more, you know, kind of central to the plot. So, you know, so do you find that most people know you as Nami, or possibly another character that I'm going to talk about shortly that may or may not have some superpowers tied to her?
I'm definitely mostly known for Nami, definitely, and Honey, and the character that I bet you're going to bring up.
Which I'm very glad you perfectly segmented me way too, because I want to talk about, Luci Christian, the best character in My Hero Academia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about Deku. I'm not talking about Bakugo. I'm not talking about All Might. I'm talking about the one and only, the one we can always rely on, the sweet yet tough, can hold her own, the one holding it down for the underground. I'm talking about Uraraka.
That's it. That's right. That's right. Hallelujah. That's right.
Now, the show is great, don't get me wrong, but I will say that Uraraka is a force to be reckoned with, and one that even Bakugo, the man who yells for about 95% of his vernacular, even had to give credit to. So kind of, you know, what did Uraraka mean to you? You know, kind of, you know, obviously, you know, if we've learned anything so far, you know, none of us could have foreseen how big these shows would end up. But was there ever an inkling kind of with Uraraka?
I'll tell you, I did not know. I have been around for a minute, and I've never had a show like My Hero happen to me. I will tell you, I was not even going to audition for that. Just a funny little story. For a while there, because I started having kids, I have 2 kids now. They are 10 and 8 now. But at one point they were 1 and 3. And it was overwhelming. I was overwhelmed with trying to sort of be a rock star for everybody. And so I said, you know, I'm not going to audition for anything new up at Funimation. I'm going to keep doing Nami. I'm going to do what I can, but I'm just not going to take on anything new. To just try to cut my trips a little bit.
Sure. And
I was up there working one day, and the building was electric. There was a vibe, a heavy, heavy vibe. And they have sides. There are these, some people might know what they are, but that's when there are auditions, there's a binder, and it has all the different characters listed inside. It has like their picture and a description of them, and then a few lines, and those are the sides, and we use those for auditions. And all the sides were out, and I saw Ian in the hall, and I said, "What's going on?" And he goes, "It's My Hero auditions." And I was like, "Oh, right. I think I heard Colleen talk about that." "Oh, right." He goes, "You should audition." And I said, "No, I'm not auditioning. I'm not doing that." And he goes, "You should audition." So I was like, I went and got my hot tea, and I went out in the lobby and kind of looked through the sides a little bit, just peeking, and so I went and knocked on Colleen's door, because she's a producer, so she has a office over there. Yeah. And I was like, knock, knock, knock. Hi, can I read for this one? Like this show? She goes, would you? Would you please? Anywho, so I read for Froppy. I read for a couple of different characters, but I mean, I loved Ochako. I'm very much that type of voice person. That's my range. It's what I know and what I love. And I was floored when I got her. And then, we recorded it, and I think it took a little while for it to hit, really. And I feel like some of us were like, oh, I thought people were going to love this more. And then I want to say it was during the second season or something where it went like and then everybody was talking about it, and my kids are seeing people dressed up. My kid wants to dress up as Ochako, and we can't find one small enough.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, I'm sure there's some like custom maker that could probably do it, but I will say, growing up in kind of, the Toonami generation, I've seen a lot of, the big animes, kind of, shonen animes kind of come and go. Not come and go, but like, the height of their popularity, Naruto comes to mind, I was Naruto running in the halls with the best of them.
Yeah.
But with that said, I have never seen a following so quickly form and so passionately form than My Hero Academia. I do remember last year at Visioncon, back when, we were doing this, in person, I was on stage, I would look out and there's just a sea of green wigs of people dressed up as Deku or as all the pink from Uraraka. And just like, it is a very interesting show. It's a good show as well, but the fact that it has such a wide following, I think, is a lot credited to the people who breathe these voices into these characters, such as yourself, which is actually something I kind of want to talk to you about. So when you're giving these voices to these characters, over 400 characters or like instances of these characters you have voiced throughout the years. Yeah. How do you keep it all straight? And not only that, how do you give each character their own voice and personality while still kind of, retaining your own voice at the end of the day?
Well, I'm sure people have different answers to that. All of my different friends have different answers to that. I do think we would all agree that it comes from a place of, or at least for me, I am not a great mimic. I don't do a lot of funny voices, except for I can kind of do Bobby Hill. That's the one, though. That's like the one. I can go, Dad, me and Connie are going to go to the mall. But Dad, like that's the only one I can do. That's it. But what I am able to do is I read well. I know how to read words and assign emotion to them. And I'm good at acting as if something is really happening. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like my gift with voice acting has always been being able to take these words that are supposed to go with this already created thing and making them seem like they go together. So my voice isn't always like when people say, do Nami's voice, it feels really weird because I don't feel like Nami has a voice. She's kind of me, bossy me. It's just kind of difficult. I read her as me, bossy, telling people what to do. But anyway, I mean, that's how I do it. Also, though, I'll tell you, to get into voices a lot of times, thank God for anime and the way it wants to say everybody's name a cajillion times. That's how I figure out the voice. I can go, hey, Deku, Bakugo. I say their names. The names, Sosuke. I don't know. It just, we say the names so much that a lot of times my voice gets matched to them. How do he? Let's eat cake. So it's just the names are a real hook for me.
That's an interesting way that you can just kind of flip on a dime with just by saying those names. Now, a couple questions I do want to ask about voice acting.
Stein. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. So a lot of people that watch the show are obviously here for the big guests that we have on it. But we've noticed that a lot of people are also very interested in either getting into voice acting or are already in the process and just kind of need to know the next few steps and maybe some tips so that they could one day become the next Luci Christian. Yes. So Luci, I'm going to turn around to you. Now, the first question I want to talk about is rejection. So rejection, yeah. Weird transition, I'll give you that. But
no, I'll take it. It's good.
rejection is, a prominent part in just life in general. But I will say, if there ever were an industry that rejection is kind of more prominent than others, I would definitely say it would be your industry. So,
Yes.
with a voice actress and just an actress, just an entertainer in general, as successful as you, how do you deal with rejection? Does it get any easier, or are there any tips that you have for aspiring actors and actresses?
It does get easier, or at least it has for me. But yeah, that's something about this industry that you should know. We're told no way more often than we're told yes. And even people who work a lot, I am rejected more times than I'm hired. And that's just the way it is. And the sooner you sort of learn to not take that personally at all, the better. What you do is you start looking at every audition or opportunity as it's just a chance to do your best and leave a great impression. And that's all you can hope for. It's the best you can hope for, because I may not be right for this thing, but what I want is for them to invite me back for other opportunities or other roles or other audiobooks or other commercials or other e-learning projects or whatever it is. So all you do is give it your best shot. For me, I have learned that belaboring something does not help my performance. Generally, the first couple of takes are a good instinct. And I do my best and I send it off, or I finish it and I say thank you and I try to forget it. I not always able to forget it, but it's better if you forget it, because then if you're hired, it's a pleasant surprise. And if not, you have moved on with your life and you're on to the next thing, or you're doing your thing, and it's not slowing you down. You're not doubting yourself, or it's not weird the next time you see that director because you're still nursing this thing. Because that can really mess you up. We're going to be rejected sometimes. All of the directors I've worked with have not hired me before. So if I'm going to be weird about it, why would they want to work with me again? It's just kind of the thing. It's the nature of the beast. And you just have to decide that there's plenty to go around. Your time will come and you just move on. That's what I do.
That's a very interesting and very introspective way to look at it, and I like that. Now, guys, before we continue, I just want to point out, if you guys are watching this live now on Facebook, you'll notice in the live chat, the one and only Marissa Pence, my coworker at Visioncon. Marissa, honey, you're the wind beneath my sails. She has put a bunch of links that are attached to Luci Christian. Make sure to check those out. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, once this is posted, they're going to be in the description below. And so, guys, right now, if you guys haven't already, plenty of you already have either messaged Visioncon your guys' questions or comments, or put it in the live chat. But if you haven't already, go ahead and do that, because later towards the end of this interview, I'm going to open it up for viewers' comments and questions, guys. But with that said, my next question, Luci Christian, is in a similar vein. A lot of people watching this interested in either getting into voice acting or just need tips on how to progress farther.
Yes.
Let's do a little role play. Let us pretend that I, Zach Wilson, am the physical embodiment of all of these people that are wanting to either get into this industry or progress farther. What would you advise them, in this case me, do? Let's say, theoretically, I am in a place where, voice acting is prevalent and I can easily, kind of get to a studio to try out. But let's say I haven't taken any class or that. I've just decided, hey, I want to get into voice acting. What would you advise me do?
My advice would be to probably take some classes. And you would either sort of reach out to a voice actor that you know to say, hey, who would you recommend in this area to take a class with? Or call a talent agent. If you live in a city that has an agency, you call them, they will know who is giving good classes. A good class for voiceover specifically is a class where you get to be behind the microphone and get to talk into it a lot and take direction. Certainly not like this, where you have somebody who does it for a living just talking to you for an hour about how great they are. That is not a good class. That's an awesome panel, but it's not a great class. You don't pay money for that. You pay money to get to be behind a microphone and learn mic technique. Because that will distinguish when you go into a studio. You don't want that to be the first time you have cans on or you're talking into a high quality microphone. Okay. You want to already have that stuff under your belt and be comfortable with it. So, and that's where classes are super helpful in learning that. Then you would probably get some demos made. If you want to sign with an agent, you can. You don't have to, but it can be nice. They will get you some work that you wouldn't get otherwise. And they usually will host demos on their website now. So if you want to know what a demo sounds like, here's a great cheat. Go to a talent agent's website and listen to professional voice actor demos, and yours should sound like that. If it shouldn't sound so different from that it would pull somebody's ear. Like they wouldn't go, that person sounds like they don't know what a professional demo is. So go listen to the good ones. You know, I'm sure Sabbath's demo is on Mary Collins Agency's website and other people up in Dallas. Mine is on Pastor Ernie Bosby Talent's website in Houston. I'm sure my LA friends have similar things going on. And then after you get a demo and stuff, you can self-promote. Your agent can promote you. You are welcome if you live in a town like Houston or like Dallas or wherever out in LA. You can call Bang Zoom. It's not ADV anymore. It's Sentai. But in my heart, they're ADV. You can call these people. You can call Funimation and say, I would like to be put on an open call list. Is there an audition list? You can do that. You know, you don't be creepy about it. You just call and say, I'm a professional actor. I'm local. I'm flexible. And I would like to be put on the open call list. And they will take your information. And that is the end of the tale until they call you. Sure. And in the interim, get with your friends and make your own fun stuff. Like, make whatever you want to make. Have fun. Put stuff out. Role play. Play games. Like, enjoy your life and create things with other people that you like. You will have a great time. You will learn a lot. There's a lot of people that are creating a lot of content just because they want to, and you can. And I think that's awesome. And then when auditions come around for Funimation or Rooster Teeth or all these awesome places, you will have been working on your craft, working on it all, and you'll be ready for it. Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense. Now, I did want to ask you, you talked a lot about agents. How soon or how important do you think getting an agent would be? And should they get that on the early outset, or should it kind of be towards, you know, once they've kind of make a name for themselves? Because a previous guest said something I'll never forget, whereas a big part of having an agent is having someone to be the bad guy and to say no to people, whether it be, you know, like a person trying to scout them for a show that may not, you know, pay so well or may not work out so well, or maybe a blonde-haired guy from Missouri who has his own YouTube show that wants them on the show, but they don't want to be on the show. Just you know, hypothetically. How important do you think just having an agent is, and how early should a person get one?
I personally think that having an agent is great. It is very helpful because they are the bad guy. They're willing to be the bad guy for you. They will protect you. Now, and depending on what contracts you sign, it's different in different places. I'm in Texas, so we're a right to work state. We're different than LA. But I have been with my same agent for almost 20 years. And when I was just starting out, they worked with me. They would let me do some projects that I probably wouldn't do today, but I was building my resume. So they would let me take less than probably they would negotiate for me today. An agent can be a real help. But most of us, I think, would also say that we appreciate our agents for the help they give us and the work they get us, but we don't rely on them alone. We're sort of always hustling. A lot of my work that doesn't come through my agency is stuff that, like audiobooks, that does not come through my agency. I do audiobooks because I got hired by a company who, it was all online and they're out of Oregon. That's not through them. My e-learning work is not through them. It's all online. So yeah, I say get an agent as quick as you can. They will help promote you. and they can really help you. They can get you other kinds of work. Most of us would say, like, spread a wide net. Why not? Spread as wide a net as you can and try to get as big a basket as you can with a bunch of different goodies in it. Because then when things happen like pandemics, which totally suck for everyone, hopefully as a few things in that basket go away, there are a few things left. Mm-hmm. And you're able to sort of sustain your life, your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of audiobooks, if you want and enjoy audiobooks, but would like them read by your favorite voice actress, Luci Christian, link is down in the description. But with that said, I did have one final question before we open it up to the plug zone and then viewers' comments and questions.
Yes.
Luci, you have voiced so many characters throughout the years. Are there any of them that, just have really stood with you through the years? I mean, obviously a lot of them, have a special place in your heart, but are there any of them that just, like, at the end of the day, you will happily, just kind of hang your hat on?
There are a few. And honestly, a lot of them are older. And I don't know if that's because we move through content a lot faster now. Like there's a lot more of it and we work through it a lot faster. I think that might be why some of the ones that have really stuck with me were from back in the day, because we took longer. We just spent more time with it. Sure. So like Princess Tutu is forever and always my favorite anime that I've ever done. I love the show. It was the first anime that I like totally fell in love with. It's just that one for me. Shows like, there was a weird little show called Super Gals. That was my favorite thing ever for the longest time. I had a soft spot for Dean Angel. I loved this really raunchy anime musical we worked on called Narama Brothers. It was so good. Oh my God. It was so funny and we enjoyed it so much. We just had so much fun making it. Certainly back in the day with all of the Full Metal, everything surrounding Full Metal, and Samurai 7, that was a favorite show of mine. Gunslinger Girl broke my heart in 1,000,000 pieces. Those are just some. Sure. Like there are so many. I mean, Ouran, that's not even mentioning like the major hitters like Ouran and Nami and Uraraka and just all of these shows. Even things like Hetalia. I have a funny story about Hetalia. Hetalia, you know how everybody has different accents?
Yeah.
So I was on my way to record that. I live 4 hours from the studio, 4 hours from Dallas. And I was kind of midway and I got a text that said, "Can you do a Hungarian accent?" And I was like, no.
No. In a word, no.
I don't know. And they were like, "Well, check out YouTube or whatever before you get here. See what you can do." So I kind of listened to some stuff. And when I got to Funimation that day, they were like, "So you're this character Hungary in this show and everybody's got a different thing and knock us out with what you can do." And so I just kind of, "Oh, Austria, this is my voice." I'm just saying, that's how it happens sometimes.
Oh my God. Well,
it's crazy.
I mean, it's a crazy life you lead. Now, one more question before we go to the plug zone and then viewers' comments and questions. I did want to talk a little bit about Ouran High before we kind of wrap this up real quick. Now, Ouran High, if you guys came for the pre-show, I already said the fun story that I have attached to Ouran High. But, looking at me, you might not think Ouran High is one of my favorite animes of all time, but it definitely is. Granted, I will say, I first started watching it once upon a time when, there was a girl, tale as old as time, but didn't work out, spoiler. But the show, it didn't even matter. I had found one of the greatest animes of all time. So how did it feel voicing Honey Senpai in Ouran High Host Club? Please excuse my voice cracking.
Oh, no, you're good. Especially talking about Honey. That's like, Honey. I was so nervous about Honey, I'll be honest, because everybody was real excited about Ouran, and he's drawn so perfectly that I hoped, I'm not even, this is not fishing or anything. I was terrified I wouldn't do him justice. And I think that happens with a lot of boys, especially that I voice. I think, I can't do this. Why am I playing this boy? Like, they think I can. I don't even know what I'm doing. Anyway, and then it somehow happens. But I was nervous because I knew that so many people loved that show. And I knew it, especially we went to Anime Expo that year, all of us, for the cast announcement or something. And Travis Willingham plays Mori. And for the announcement, we had the Ouran jackets, and Travis let me put on his. And of course, he's a giant, and I'm not a giant. And I went out on his back in his jacket. And it was amazing. And it was a sea of people. I had never seen a crowd that size before. Just people in love with the show. And I think Caitlin, I didn't realize what a gift Caitlin had given me in that show and how she really gifted all of us. In fact, even years later, I stopped going to cons when my kids were little for about 5 years. And when I came back, it was Ouran was the thing I was signing the most of, even like 7 years after it was out. And I thought, I had no idea that it was going to be this. But I think it's such a touchstone show for so many people. It was so many people's first show or high school show or whatever, you know, they just, and it's only one season, which I don't understand. Like, why?
Criminal as well. But it's interesting you brought up the fact that, you know, it is kind of a touchstone show, and also one that, you know, a lot of people didn't expect that they would like as much, because I am currently watching a show that you are in that I had the exact same mindset. Now, for those of you who don't know, next Monday, I'm having Bryce Bogus on the show, who voices the main character in a show I think you know. Is it Ron to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? Longest time, kind of completely wrote off the show, kind of just kind of seemed a little clickbaity to me. But, you know, he was coming on the show, and I'm like, all right, enough's enough. You know, I'm a big fan of his for his other works, but not so much that show. I start watching the show, and I can't stop. You know, from the title alone, you know, it kind of seems like it's something that isn't, and in a way it kind of is, but it's so much more. And it's the chemistry that you and him have in that show is just unreal. So I just want to give you accolades for that.
Thank you. She is best goddess.
Oh, by far. But guys,
petulant, jealous, you know.
Key to my own heart. But with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not already, if you're watching this live on Facebook, either message Visioncon your questions or comments, or put it in the live chat. Now is your last chance to do so, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the plug zone. Luci Christian, now is your chance to promote, advertise, plug, whatever verb you want to use. The floor is yours.
For me?
For you. Website, social media, secondary services, anything.
Oh, gosh. Well, you guys, whoever's watching, y'all are awesome. I hope everybody's okay. I feel so weirdly disconnected from everybody, and I know I'm not alone in that. But thank God for social media. I mean, as crazy as it can be, it's ours right now. And it's where we can talk and send funny memes back and forth and all that good stuff. So I'm on Twitter at Lucy with an I, loves Mike, M-I-C, like microphone. And that's what I am on Instagram too. I tend to post just a bunch of pictures of my kids and stuff and my dog. Sometimes my friends when I'm at work. And I have a website. I did a new website in my downtime during pandemic, like at the beginning of the pandemic. And that's just LuciChristian.com. It's easy. I just had to go back through and try to get my, like, take off all of the poor conventions. Pour one out, cried here. So sad. And where else am I? Oh, and I do the V-Shout like everybody else. And those have been super fun. It's just been fun to get to see people, even if it's through our screens, like it gives life, you know, just a little bit of life. And we all need that so bad right now. So bad.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, all of those links are in the live chat now if you're watching this live on Facebook, or down below if you're watching this later on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of the plug zone and going into viewers' comments and questions.
Viewers' comments.
Woo! So like how we always do this, guys, I'm going to try to divide it up evenly between those who message the messenger for Visioncon and the live chat. So bear with me as I bring this up.
I believe in you. It's going to be great.
The first one I'm going to read comes from Raylene Ramirio, love of my life.
What's up, Raylene?
My girlfriend Raylene said, I know being a voice actor is a hard job. Is a hard job being with, but I was curious about the kind of challenges you faced with a show like One Piece that just has such high expectations for every episode, and maybe the challenges you have with specifically Nami. Now, before you answer that, she also included a picture that she wanted to show you. She got a tattoo of Nami recently.
Shush.
Right? Can you see it? Oh.
Oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Oh, she's so happy. Oh.
And I will say, I was there with her when she got it, took it like a champ. Blew my mind.
Angel, you are a rock star.
But yeah, so, how it kind of, pressure, stressful, with being a main character in a show like One Piece, one of the most renowned animes, at least in the shonen variety to ever exist. Is that pressure, especially with being Nami, are there any pressures with that?
There definitely was in the beginning. I don't know. I think this has been like common knowledge for a while, but when we first jumped into it, we were already under a broadcast schedule that we sort of inherited. And so we were jumping in the 100s and trying to like meet this broadcast schedule. So they had 3 different studios going doing One Piece, and we were running from studio to studio going, how are you saying this island name? What are you doing? Trying to figure it out. So I had never even seen Nami's backstory when we first started the show. So we went back, later when we went back and started over and I saw her whole backstory, I was like, oh, dagger, heart, what? Like, what? But in the beginning, yes, there was tremendous pressure because we all knew this was kind of a second start for the show and people did have high expectations and we hoped they would like it. And now these days, it's just we're usually recording sort of big chunks of it at once. And if I have a lot of screaming to do at Luffy, it's just trying to control my shark teeth, like prolong my vocal cords for shark teeth Nami. Luffy, how dare you do that? Blah, 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 blah. It's just...
I love that. All right. So Jonathan sent in his messenger and asked, are there any shows or characters that you specifically don't look forward to voicing or may even avoid?
Shows that I don't look forward to. Jonathan, you are so funny. Yes, I'm sure that is true. I will never breathe a word of what they are, though. And this is why, because it's somebody's favorite show. And I learned that the hard way a long time ago. Like, we all have our favorites, and we can't tell why. Sometimes you like what you like. Sure. And nobody likes for anybody to dump on it. But yes, there are things that I am not as jazzed about. Or shows that didn't really, I don't know, I didn't really connect with, and not connect is not the right word. For whatever reason, it wasn't my favorite thing. But it's someone's favorite thing. And the nice thing about my line of work is, you know what? If you don't like something, it will change very soon. So pretend like you like it for a little bit.
I dig it. All right. So Marissa actually wrote in and asked a couple questions. All right. Marissa first asked, who are your favorite One Piece characters? She personally has a personal love for Doflamingo.
Oh, because he's great.
Yeah.
I do have a favorite, and it I'm sure is not one anybody would have picked. But fairly recently, I went back and started watching One Piece at the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
And I'm here to say that Buggy the Pirate steals that whole show.
Yes!
He is the best character of all of us.
Oh.
And I think, like, it could be a drinking game. Every time he says, flashily, everybody drink. I love him.
It goes Nami, Buggy, Brooke. Oh, you have no idea how psyched I am that you said that.
Brooke, I love him.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Ian. Oh,
And
yes,
then,
Mike McFarland as Buggy the Pirate is just fantastic.
oh my God. Well, she also asked, do you have a favorite Nami line?
Um, favorite Nami line. Well, I we always like the ones where she's happy and chasing berries. Because she does so much exposition in the show. She's so the one that's like, you guys get it together. We've got to go that way because this is why. And here's all the exposition in the show and all that stuff. So whenever she gets to chase berries or try to be sexy to get berries, we always like that. But I'll tell you, during that whole backstory, that whole scene, I will never forget recording that whole scene with the knife and the tattoo and all of that. Favorite, hands down. She's a boss and she's tough and great. And she and Luffy, like that was it. Mm-hmm. That was it. Right there.
It was
like forever. They would go to the mat. They would go to the mat for each other. And you knew it then, you know.
Such a pivotal moment in the show. All right, I got time for one more question to round us all out. We got Evan with, what part of voice acting is the most fun to perform?
Oh, it is fun. The most fun for me, frankly, I'm built for this kind of job. And it's truly, it is my greatest wish that you all get to do what you're built to do, because it makes work a joy. I love 9 to 5 and sort of doing the same thing every day was not for me. I did that. And I certainly would do it again if I had to. But I love getting to work with a bunch of different people. A lot of these people I've worked with for years, and we are dear friends. And they're creative and generous and fun. And we tell fun stories. And sometimes we tell really scary, sad stories. And I'm here for all of it. I love getting to tell stories. I love getting to work with the people I work with. I love that I'm a reader. It's my superpower is I'm a really good reader. And so like today, I'm recording an audiobook, and I recorded really super boring e-learning earlier. And I'm going to record a commercial tomorrow for something entirely different. And I love that. I love that it's never quite the same. It's always kind of a surprise, just kind of terrifying too, if you're not built for it.
Sure.
But I am. And it has changed my life. Like I said, I never could have seen this. But I'm glad God knew what I didn't know, which is that this is good. It's good. And that's why I encourage anybody, I know there are people who want to do creative things. Just do it. Do it. Especially no one can stop you. Just do it. even if people don't like it, that's not your business, right? It's your business to make it, or just do it. Try it.
I can't think of a better note to leave off on. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 19, or 18 rather, of Visioncon Live.
Yay.
Before we wrap things up, Luci Christian, you have any final thoughts or words to leave us out on?
You guys, I can't wait to see you. Like, don't let it get you all the way down. That's what I have to say. We're in a crazy moment. Like, it's too much. It's too much for anybody to be able to handle, but we will, and we are. And there's lots of good anime to watch in the meantime. And I hope you all have people that you care around you. And when we all come out and play, we are going to do it hardcore, like hardcore.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 18 of Visioncon Live. Make sure to tune in this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time for my interview with Austin Tyndall, Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, Rin from 3, just to name a few. But until next time, my name's Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my special guest, Luci Christian. You guys, stay safe out there, and always remember, life's better when you have friends to share it with.